Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about types of cells. So stop wasting any of your time, let's get right to it. Now when we're talking cell types, right off the bat we want to establish some descriptive adjective type words. The idea of simple and the idea of stratified. So simple, it just simply means there's a single layer. Okay, stratified means more than one layer, multiple layers. So you can have a simple squamous, you can have a stratified squamous, you can have a simple cubonal, you can have a stratified cubonal. It just simply means it's a reference to how many layers there are. Unfortunately, the stratified doesn't tell you how many layers there are. It just tells you that there's more than one. And you can see the types and the shapes. But we have we talk about each of those individually. So we'll talk about those then. But do reference the chart here right beside me, where it tells you your location. So where squamous cells are found, where Cubonal cells are found. So be sure you collect that information. Alright, the idea of squamous cells. Squamous cells are somewhat circular in nature. This is what you'd kind of see in your typical cell type. Looking at it, it's not quite circular, kind of irregular shape, but it's certainly animal shell looking. I think I said cell looking, where they're touching beside themselves and beside each other. And we talked back in, is it organelles? Yeah, organelles, about those different ways in which cells communicate. And that structure kind of lends to that. They work pretty good with diffusion. And this type of cell, not all cells are this way, but squamous cells go through mitosis and get replaced on a highly regular basis. You can see that nucleus kind of right in the middle. It's just your classic. If you look at a picture of a cell, this is kind of what you're gonna see. Now, cubonal cells, as just the name implies, more cube-shaped. Again, they have a central nucleus. Okay, and you got your single layer. This is in glands, quite a bit of that. And I should have referenced this on squamous. Be sure that when you're collecting the information about the individual types of cells in the slide, that you're also referencing their locations. Those are certainly key multiple choice question bits of information. But cube-shaped and most commonly found, as it says there, in a single layer. And glands is the location for the most part. Now our simple columnar, or I should say columnar cells, again, most typically found in a simple. If you find an area that's got stratified columnar, it's typically the pseudo-stratified, and it's not a true stratified. That's why hence the pseudo. But the columnar cells are alternating, from if you look at it top or bottom or right or left. One from the right would go about 3/4 the way across, and then one from the bottom or the opposite side would go the other 3/4. So they've got about half the cell that's overlapping, and so that's why it's called a pseudo stratified. But they're tall. You think of a building, a very tall building, but obviously it's a lot thinner, and these work best with diffusion because of that, because they're thin across the middle and the nucleus typically on one end. Then you can get all your diffusion that needs to happen right around in that area. You'll find these cells a lot where things need to be absorbed. So we're talking digestive system, we're talking lungs, where absorption needs to occur, hence because they're best at diffusion, so those cell types are what you're going to find there. Well, that's our video over types of cells. When we come back next time, we're going to be talking about connective tissue. We'll see you then.